Beautiful. And so that kind of leads me to my next question is that, we can utilize a lot of these things we have at our own home, from the grass clippings to the leaves that are falling, from the rainwater. And I think it's something that it's easy to overcomplicate these things. It's easy to look at what we have and say, oh, well, I don't have a big farm. I don't have Polyface Farm, which is how big is Polyface? Is it 500 acres?
Yeah, well, we own 950 here, but only 250 is open land. The rest, so it's a lot of forest, a
Okay.
lot of woods, and then we rent some other parcels in the community as well.
Cool. So someone says, "Oh, I don't have hundreds of acres." They have, let's say, a quarter of an acre, half an acre, and an acre. So, what are some things that people can do to just start where they're at? That's a big philosophy that I believe is you got to start where you're at. It doesn't matter what you have, whether you have one railing, get some window boxes. What are some ways that people can begin to grow their own food no matter where they are?
Yeah, what a great point. Our mantra here is wherever you are, how can you fill it up? Can you fill up where you are? Because the tendency is, well, if I just had, and
Right,
name what, fill in
exactly.
the blank. If I just had, that guy's talents, or that guy's job, or that guy's wife, or that guy, whatever, the tendency is to just to think, that I need something else in order to get started. And so we're big believers in fill up where you are. So let's start. If you don't have any land, you can certainly get a little vermicomposting, a little worm bin. They make little kits, that fits under your kitchen sink, and you can at least put your kitchen scraps and feed the worms and get worm castings, and that can go in for your flowers, or whatever you're doing. There's a tremendous the technology now for miniature hanging gardens, like in a PVC pipe with pockets in it that you can hang on your porch, and you can have your own fresh herbs. For example, you fill that thing full of soil and compost, and you can have your herbs growing out of those pockets, hanging on your patio. Most herbs don't need full light, so they work well in a kind of a shaded environment. So I mean, the difference between fresh herbs and non-fresh herbs is quite, as you know, is quite astounding. And so to be able to grow some of your own is really great for garnishes and medicinal purposes. Then as we think about additional space, um, for example, I know people who have built uh, basically gutters that you can hang on the side of your house. Um, yeah, you mentioned, Rob, window boxes. Well, this is one step beyond window boxes. Yes, window boxes are great, but beyond that, you can actually have. As you go to Italy, and Italy, uh, even people that don't have a yard at all, they use their house as a trellising network for squash vines and tomato plants, and you wouldn't believe what they've got crawling all over the sides of their house. And and it's wonderful. You can use ornamentals. You can put ornamental plants, but you can also put edible plants. And of course, those plants, as they grow up the side of your house, they also help to cool your house, because all that vegetation helps to cool it, so you don't need the air conditioning. And so there's a lot of nuanced benefits here. So it doesn't take big spaces. There are a lot of pots now, pot gardens, both legal and illegal. I don't care. But pot gardens, you can grow a lot of stuff in pots. And so these are some things you can do near in. And in fact, I've got a new book coming out. It'll come out hopefully in about August. The title is Polyface Micro, and
Cool. Nice.
the subtitle is Success with Livestock on a Homestead Scale.
Hmm.
And I in that book I even show how to have rabbits and chickens in a Manhattan apartment.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, you can do things. If you've got a very very tiny spot, um, you want to the key for animals, both rabbits and chickens. Those, I mean, you're not going to have a cow or a goat or a pig, but for the small stuff like a chicken or a rabbit, which very very small, um, those can be done in a deep litter system. So you have a box, and rather than have them pooping on the biggest problem is the manure, right? I mean, that's where the smell comes from. It's where the daily work comes from, when you're keeping an animal in a small space. So by making a composting bedding under this, so you have a 18-inch deep box that's actually a compost pile. Not only does that absorb all the manure and urine, and you don't have any odors, but it also provides a habitat for nematodes and the whole biological beings to stay in balance, so you don't have pathogenicity. And but it takes depth. You can't have a compost pile that's only 2 inches deep. It's got to be 12 to 18 inches. So you need some depth there. But you can absolutely do this on a very small scale. Now, I've just described what could be done literally in and on the house. But if you have a yard at all, if you have any kind of outside area, obviously then you can move to a beehive, honeybees. You could have a rabbit chicken combo there. You can have raised beds, so you can have vegetables. And you basically take what is considered lawn or ornamental area, and you turn it into edible area. And obviously, if you have enough room on the edge of your house, you can put a solarium. We have an old house, but we have a state-of-the-art solarium on the side of it that we can grow fresh, hardy greens, leafy greens, and things that are frost resistant. We can grow those throughout the winter, and on the shoulders of the season, spring and fall, we can open the windows and get passive solar heat into the house from the solarium. And so you can grow a lot of material in a small space if you just start and head down that direction.